William Carter's life moved quietly, almost invisibly, through the crowded rhythm of New York City. He lived in a modest apartment where nothing looked luxurious, yet to him it felt complete because Liza lived there. Every morning before the city fully woke up, William prepared coffee, moved softly so he would not disturb her sleep, and paused for a few seconds just to look at her face. In those moments he believed he was the luckiest man alive. He had never been a man of grand ambitions. Stability mattered more to him than status, peace more than applause. For William, love meant consistency, sacrifice, and showing up every day without being asked. Liza, however, carried a different kind of fire inside her. From a young age she had dreamed of a life that sparkled. A life where people noticed her when she entered a room, where comfort turned into luxury and admiration followed her like a shadow. In the early days of their marriage, she found William's simplicity comforting. His honesty felt rare, his loyalty felt safe, and his calm presence made her believe that perhaps love was enough. But as time passed, the walls of the apartment began to feel smaller to her, and William's quiet nature started to feel limiting. She would often stand in front of the mirror, dressed elegantly even with nowhere special to go, studying her reflection and asking herself whether this was truly all life had planned for her. William never noticed those silent questions growing inside her. He believed love only needed patience. During their first year together, William did everything he could to keep Liza happy. He worked extra hours, came home tired yet smiling, cooked meals she liked, listened even when she spoke very little, and avoided arguments at all costs. Whenever she complained about something small, he reassured her that things would get better. He often told her that as long as he had her, he did not need anything else from life. Liza smiled when he said that, but her smile slowly lost its warmth. One evening while they sat at the dinner table in silence, Liza suddenly asked if he had ever thought about upgrading their lifestyle, about moving to a bigger apartment, about living a life that matched her potential. William replied gently that he was trying, that everything he did was for their future. Liza sighed and said that trying was not always enough, that some people were born to succeed while others only learned how to survive. William felt those words sink deep into his chest, heavy and painful, yet he chose silence because he believed confrontation would push her further away. From that point onward, small changes began to appear. Liza started spending more time outside, coming home later than usual, her phone always close to her, her attention divided. William noticed the distance growing between them but convinced himself it was temporary. He blamed himself for not being ambitious enough, for not giving her the life she imagined. Evan Brooks entered Liza's life during a professional networking event, and from the very first conversation, he made her feel seen. Evan was confident, wealthy, and effortlessly charming. He spoke about success as if it were his natural language. When he told Liza that she was the most captivating woman in the room, something inside her awakened. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. Evan listened to her dreams, encouraged her desires, and painted a picture of a world where she could have everything she wanted. Whenever William's name surfaced in conversation, Evan remained silent, allowing Liza to fill that silence with her own doubts. Slowly, comparisons began to form in her mind. Evan's lifestyle, his freedom, his confidence stood in sharp contrast to William's routine, his limitations, and his quiet devotion. At home, William felt the change without fully understanding it. Conversations grew shorter, laughter disappeared, and the warmth between them faded. His mother, Rose Carter, noticed the tension immediately. She had lived long enough to recognize emotional distance before words confirmed it. One day, she gently warned William that silence could sometimes mean departure. William admitted that he was afraid of losing Liza, afraid that his love might not be enough. Rose told him that sometimes people we try hardest to hold on to are already walking away. Nights became the hardest part of William's life. He lay awake beside Liza, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathing, wondering when exactly love had started slipping through his fingers. One night, Liza finally spoke the words he feared. She said she needed time to find herself, to understand what she truly wanted from life. William did not argue or beg. He simply told her to do what made her happy. But as she turned away from him that night, something inside William cracked. Love was still there, but it felt fragile, uncertain, and painfully one-sided. Liza stood at the edge of a new world filled with promises, while William remained behind, holding on to the memory of a love he believed would always be enough. After days of silence and growing distance, Liza finally decided to face the next chapter of her life. She began spending more time with Evan Brooks, who gave her the attention and admiration she had longed for. Evan took her to lavish parties, expensive shopping trips, and every meeting with him made her feel special and desired. At first, Liza enjoyed the attention, but deep down, a sense of emptiness lingered. She realized that the happiness she was chasing was temporary, and her heart's true peace remained elusive. William Carter continued his life as usual, silently loving Liza from a distance. But inside, a new awareness had awakened. Sometimes love is not just about giving. It's also about standing up for yourself and your worth. His mother, Rose Carter, tried to advise him that Liza's behavior was changing, and that if he kept sacrificing silently, he might break inside. One evening, William resolved to speak from his heart. He sat near Liza, gently and with quiet pain in his voice, and said, "Liza, I know you are searching for happiness somewhere else. I don't want to stop you, but you need to understand that the love I have for you has never diminished. It may have been quiet, but it has always been real." Liza lowered her eyes, feeling a mixture of regret and shame, yet her pride kept her silent. Meanwhile, Evan Brooks had become nothing more than a fleeting fantasy, a dazzling but unreal world. And now, sitting before William, she realized that true love and respect were found elsewhere. Not in temporary glamour or compliments, but in the steady, patient love William had always given her. Evan's true nature began to reveal itself. Every word, every gift, every flattering comment came wrapped in selfishness. Liza finally saw that she had been a pawn in someone else's game, and that the genuine love she had been overlooking was the one that had always been beside her, William's. For the first time, Liza confronted her truth. She returned home that night and sat with William, saying, "I thought I was happy, but I was wrong. You have always valued me, and I failed to recognize it. I am sorry, and I promise I will never take your heart for granted again." William looked at her silently, feeling the weight of years of pain and uncertainty begin to lift, replaced with hope. He replied, "Liza, love isn't just about apologies. It's about understanding and supporting each other. We have to start over, but this time with honesty, without lies or pride." Liza placed her hand in his, realizing that she had become the woman who once appreciated his love, now stronger and wiser. That night, in the quiet darkness, they sat close, exchanging feelings even without words. Their silence was no longer fear or distance, but the beginning of a new start. Days later, Evan Brooks tried to reach out to Liza with expensive gifts and invitations, but she consistently replied, "I want a life built on true love, not fleeting desires." Meanwhile, William focused on his career and personal growth. He understood that when love is strong within, it strengthens every part of life. His relationship with Liza grew stronger than before, yet they allowed each other freedom they had never had. This freedom preserved love instead of weakening it. In the following months, Liza began pursuing her educational and professional goals. William supported every step without interference or pressure. He had learned that true love means prioritizing the other's growth and happiness. Together they shared fears, desires, and secrets, building a bond deeper than before. By the end of the year, as they sat together on the balcony of their small apartment, amidst the city lights and distant noise, they shared quiet moments of love. Liza said, "I have realized that all the dreams I chased are worth nothing compared to the love you have always given me. Happiness isn't found outside, but in inner peace and loyalty." William smiled and replied, "And I've learned that love must be balanced between giving and receiving. We've learned that love is not just words or gifts. It's understanding, sacrifice, and valuing each other." Sitting hand in hand, they spoke through silence what words could not express. Their love was no longer weak or fearful. They had become part of each other's lives, built on truth and trust, knowing that no distance, misunderstanding, or cunning could break it. Evan Brooks' influence gradually faded. Liza removed him completely from her life, and William realized that real love contains strength, patience, and respect. They had not only saved their marriage, but made it stronger than ever. Every small joy and major decision was shared, grounded in truth. Love was no longer just emotion. It had become a principle of life. Years later, reflecting on their struggles, they smiled at how silence, distance, and trials had led them to this profound understanding. That true love involves sacrifice, not just giving, but also understanding, patience, and acceptance. And so the story of William and Liza Carter ended not only with peace, but with mature, enduring love that could withstand any storm or challenge.